morning, everyone, and thank you very much for giving us the opportunity to attend this online conference organized by the Caribbean Peace Movement and others organizations. As you know, COVID-19 is a global challenge. This pandemic does not respect borders, ideologies, or level of development. It tests health systems around the world and the ability to respond to the epidemic event. It's a challenge that is posed to everyone. The pandemic is worsening the present problems in a planet damaged with deep inequalities and where 600 million people are living in dire poverty and nearly half of the population has not had access to basic health services. COVID-19 has generated a crisis of multiple and devastating effects, not only for health, but also for the economy, commerce, and our societies in general. Cuba's national plan to fight COVID-19 has been designed in line with protocols and good practices established by the World Health Organization. It has taken specific measures for each of the three phases in which the confrontation with the pandemic in the country has been structured. All state and government structures and society as a whole are involved in the process. The primary care structure of the Cuban public health system in all communities has facilitated the active investigation process, the prompt identification of cases and timely treatment of the disease in Cuba. The plan's implementation is supported by a fully resilient health system, with 9 doctors per 1,000 inhabitants that provides the population 100% coverage, and by a medical, pharmaceutical, and biotechnology industry, which has guaranteed the availability of human interferon alpha-2b and 21 other medications that are used for the treatment of patients. Many Cuban scientific centers are currently conducting 70 research projects and clinical trials. Thanks to this, the country is currently experiencing a positive evolution of the pandemic. Since late in April, Cuba has experienced a decline in the number of new infections, lower number of patients in critical and serious condition, and an increase in recoveries. Almost 88% of the patients are recovered from the disease. I would like to say that in this complex environment, Cuba has not abandoned its vocation for solidarity. My country has demonstrated its willingness to cooperate and share its modest experiences in fighting complex epidemics such as Ebola, cholera, or malaria in several countries. Neither the blockade imposed to Cuba by the US government nor the US campaign to dismiss and hinder Cuba's international medical cooperation has been able to prevent our solidarity. Currently, more than 2,300 Cuban health professionals organized in 26 medical brigades contribute in the battle against COVID-19 in 24 countries. They have joined to
Problem.
Is there a problem?
Yes.
Yes.
I'm not hearing her now.
The volume.
She's muted?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, do you know which one is her? Galaxy 57 Edge?
Yes.
Yes.
That's what she is.
Yes, that's her?
Yes.
Yes.
I don't know how that happened. Okay. I don't know what happened. I can't unmute her.
Unmute? You hear me?
She
Yeah.
unmuted.
Yes. Could you repeat about the last two sentences?
I was saying that currently more than 2,300 Cuban health professionals organized in 26 medical brigades contribute in the battle against COVID-19 in 24 countries. They have joined those who have been providing services already in 59 states through cooperation agreements. As a matter of fact, more than 40 European organizations are backing a proposal to award the Nobel Peace Prize to Cuban medical brigades for their contribution to the global battle against COVID-19. I would like to conclude by expressing that no single country can face this pandemic alone. A global response is required based on unity, solidarity, and multilateral cooperation. The need to work together to face the challenges is confirmed, because together we must generate the necessary response and we must complement each other. We cannot afford exclusions of any nature, and political differences must be removed at this dramatic moment from humanity. All wars, including unconventional ones, must stop, because as Fidel said, doctors are not bombs, doctors are not smart weapons. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you very much.
And we give an applause there.
Yes, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Yeah, much appreciated, Ambassador Fernandez. And yes, indeed, the world of take note of the Cuban internationalism, Cuban international solidarity, and much appreciative of the excellent work you're doing. So keep it up. Our next speaker will be Ambassador brought from Nicaragua.
She's not in.
Is Ambassador, is she there?
All right, she may have dropped. One of the problems we're having, one of the challenges that we're having globally, not just in Jamaica, is that our internet is constantly dropping. I had to relocate to a place where I could get some stability in order to function here. But so we're going to be finding people dropping in and out. Several persons have dropped out several times since we have started, and that's internet instability, and not only from Jamaica, but from all over. All right, back to you, Sikayo.
Okay, thank you very much, Hope. So our next presenter will be Ambassador Bridget Bodier from Nicaragua. Ambassador?
No, can we go on to Gabriel?
Okay.
Yes. No, did you get back in?
Okay, so is Gabriel, are you there?
Yes, of course.
Okay, well, in view, well, can you go on? You'll be the next presenter at this point.
Yeah, of course. So, good morning, everyone. I want to say hello to all comrades. We want to express our special greetings and thank yous for this invitation for the Jamaican Peace Council and all the organizations from the Caribbean and Latin American for the struggle for peace. My special greetings to the Miss Ambassador for Cuba. It's a real pleasure to share with you about the lessons and the experience, especially with the COVID-19. So I will speak in Spanish because for me it's better. I think Luisa can help me about that. So, camaradas, realmente para nosotros es muy importante esta oportunidad de compartir sobre la experiencia del COVID-19 con ustedes.
Great. Really is a very important opportunity to share with all of you, our experience about the coronavirus 19.
Nosotros compartimos la visión de que esta pandemia ha puesto de manifiesto la verdadera naturaleza del sistema capitalista.
We have the vision or the approach that this pandemic had put clear what is the nature of the capitalism.
Y ha demostrado que se han enfrentado las dos visiones respecto al mundo, cómo resolver los problemas en el mundo. La visión que privilegia el capitalismo y la visión que privilegia el sistema socialista.
And it showed clearly that there is two different approach, two different vision. One is the socialism vision that put first the human being, and the vision of the capitalism.
Nosotros actualmente en Venezuela tenemos 1,459 casos confirmados.
Now in Venezuela we have confirmed cases at the number of 1,450 persons, 50 people. 1,450 people.
De los cuales se han recuperado 302 personas.
302 had been recovered.
Y lamentablemente hemos perdido 14 compañeros, compatriotas venezolanos.
And unfortunately, 14 persons had died.
Ahora, Venezuela ha sido uno de los países en el continente, junto a Cuba y Nicaragua, que han tenido un éxito en la atención hasta el momento de esta pandemia.
At this moment, Venezuela had been one of the countries, together Cuba and Nicaragua, that had been a better results in front the coronavirus fighting.
Y tiene que ver con algunas medidas que tomó el gobierno nacional de forma oportuna. Lo primero fue, desde que se conoció que la pandemia llegaría a Latinoamérica, la restricción total de los vuelos internacionales hacia el país.
This success in front to COVID-19 is connected with the fast decision of the Bolivarian Republic government that immediately take decision to stop the flights to stop the flight, to close the flights to come to Venezuela.
Posteriormente, por supuesto, decretar la cuarentena total y absoluta en el país.
Immediately, the Bolivarian Venezuela, the government declared the quarantine, a voluntary quarantine in all the territory of Venezuela.
Y de forma inmediata, incrementar los niveles de cooperación y de intercambio con la Organización Mundial de la Salud para adoptar las medidas y las recomendaciones de esta organización.
And immediately Venezuela increase and have close connection, close communication with the organization of the World Health Organization, and adopted all the recommendation to try to fight with COVID-19.
Entre esas medidas, el uso obligatorio de la mascarilla, la desinfección de los espacios públicos.
Among these OMS recommendation, Venezuela adopted immediately the use of the mask and to disinfect all the public places. Had been a complete campaign about that, led for the Venezuelan government.
Y eso permitió que el sistema de salud en Venezuela, que es un sistema de salud público garantizado por el Estado, pudiese atender de forma efectiva la emergencia sanitaria.
In Venezuela, we have a public health system, and this adoption and fast decision made that Venezuela can use properly all the health system to attend the COVID-19 emergency.
Y de forma inmediata se ordenó jornadas de despistaje masivos para la aplicación masiva de pruebas que detectaran el COVID-19. Hoy Venezuela ha aplicado 968.889 pruebas.
Immediately, the Venezuelan government ordered a wide and complete and wide coverage to test about the COVID-19. 19, and now had been 968,000 of proofs to despite about COVID-19.
Además de la aplicación de las pruebas, se hizo una visita y una atención personalizada casa por casa a los posibles sospechosos de tener COVID-19.
The people that had manifest that has some symptoms about COVID-19 receive a visit of medical people. I am completing, no? Because they receive what is the health situation at home.
Por ejemplo, un testimonio personal. Yo regresé de Europa el 14 de marzo y el día 18 de marzo estaba una comisión aquí médica integrado por la misión médica cubana y venezolana visitando mi casa para efectivamente aplicar la prueba del COVID-19, porque yo había regresado de Europa.
Yes, I share with you my personal experience. I came back from Europe 14 of March, and the March 18, I received a committee where was the medical doctors of the medical mission, and they checked me to know if I be contagious.
El gobierno además aplicó un conjunto de medidas en el campo social muy importantes en el medio de la pandemia. Uno tuvo que ver, por ejemplo, con la suspensión del pago de los alquileres por 6 meses.
Additionally, the Venezuelan government, as Gabriel explained about the detection, about the prevention directly with the people, he also said now that the government apply a program, some measurements about the social and economical situation. The Venezuelan government suspend the rent payment by 6 months.
Igualmente suspendió el pago de los servicios públicos, de la luz, del agua, de los servicios de telecomunicación, por 6 meses también.
Also, we suspended the payment of the phone fee service and phone fee service and electricity, Gabriel, no?
Sí, sí, water, electricity.
Yes, he said
and
electricity
communication services.
and communication phone services.
Correcto. Y por supuesto, un esfuerzo tremendo por intentar garantizar la alimentación al pueblo venezolano.
And government is doing a big effort to guarantee the food for all the Venezuelans that need that.
Ahora, nosotros no hemos estado solo en esto. Hemos contado con la solidaridad internacional y la amplia cooperación de Cuba, en primer lugar.
We have not been alone fighting against this situation. We have been the solidarity in first term of Cuba.
Que envió un grupo de especialistas médicos a Venezuela con una dotación de medicamentos para poder atender la emergencia en sus primeros momentos.
That at the first moment of the emergency, Cuba sent a brigade of medical doctor specialists and also medication to attend the emergency.
Hemos contado con la solidaridad de Rusia y de China, que también han enviado especialistas, pero también han enviado cargamentos con ayuda humanitaria de insumos médicos, de medicinas, de dotación de equipos.
Also, we have been the solidarity of Russia and China, that they had sent professionals, medical doctors, and also they had sent cooperation and humanitarian aid to attend the emergency.
Si quisiéramos resumir cuál ha sido la fórmula para que Venezuela hoy tenga un número bajo de casos relacionados con el COVID-19, podemos verlo en 3 aspectos principales.
If we have to explain briefly why Venezuela keep a low level of cases in COVID-19. We can explain in 3 points.
Una dirección política responsable en el país.
A responsible political direction at the country.
La conciencia y la organización del pueblo venezolano.
A high level of conscience of the Venezuelan people.
Y el principio de la solidaridad internacional y entre nuestro pueblo.
And the principle of solidarity between our people and with other peoples.
Por supuesto, Venezuela hoy no enfrenta solamente la pandemia del COVID-19.
Of course, Venezuela right now is not only fighting against the COVID-19 pandemic.
Enfrentamos la pandemia más peligrosa del mundo, que es el
We are-
imperialismo estadounidense y el imperialismo europeo.
We are fighting the most dangerous pandemic that is the imperialism from US, the US imperialism and the European imperialism.
Pero a pesar de las agresiones, a pesar de las amenazas, a pesar de los esfuerzos que hace el imperialismo, nuestros pueblos van a vencer.
Overcoming the effort, the immense effort of the imperialism, our people will overcome and will prevail.
En Venezuela ni bajamos la bandera, ni nos doblegamos, ni nos arrodillamos. En Venezuela resistimos, enfrentamos al imperialismo y estamos seguros de que el destino inexorable de nuestros pueblos es la victoria.
In Venezuela, we will not dismiss, we will resist, we will fight, and we will prevail.
Gracias por esta oportunidad, camarada.
Thanks for this opportunity, comrades.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you, Gabriel. Much appreciated. Thank you very much, Louisa.
Thank you. It's a
Translation.
pleasure.
Yes, thank you very much. At this point, we'll move on to Ambassador Bridget. Is Bridget there? Hope, is Bridget in the house? Hello? Hello? Is
See?
Hope, are you hearing me?
Sorry about that. Ambassador Bridget may have signed in by her cell phone, and so it doesn't accompany her name, or name is not revealed on it. Ambassador Bridget, are you in? I think maybe she has dropped again. All right. So do you want to go ahead with the question and answer session, please?
Yes, I would suggest that to go ahead. If she comes in, then I would ask the other two ambassadors, beg their indulgence so we could allow him to get in and we continue this panel. So at this point, we'll have a few minutes, few questions. So please go ahead. Any member of the audience are free to ask a question. If any of the two present.
I can say some words.
Okay, go ahead.
You weren't hearing her very clearly.
Yeah. Well, it's very important to express. It's very important to express the fierce experience have historical aspects in the Caribbean and Latin America, and related to the doctrine discovery of colonialism advanced through sickness and vulnerability. And the first lesson that we learn, I think, is the isolation related to the indigenous peoples. It's very important to reflect that historical process and the historical learning about some social determinants through Latins, Afro-descendants, and indigenous people, and the creations of cultural protocols. And these are part of the request of people in Nicaragua, people in Ecuador, and some other parts of the Latin American. And the success of the combat to combat.
Hello, are you there?
Sorry, it is very unstable, my connection. But the last thing that I want to say is that the first demands are about the COVID-19 is the co-responsibility of the people in the use of traditional healing process to maintain the stability of the health, of the collective health. I think is that experience very important to relate in the case of Latin America and the Caribbean. The facts that the people are using, the biopatrimonial knowledge that can establish some collective health to people.
All right. Thank you very much for your intervention. Much appreciate your comment and your insight. So thank you very much. Is there any other question? Short comments?
Yes, I would like to ask a question.
Yes, go ahead, Michael.
Yeah, thanks very much, Sakir. Actually, it's two quick questions. One is, what are the main challenges that both the Cuban representative and the Venezuelan representative could speak to? What are the main challenges that you're having in fighting COVID-19? And to what extent, if any at all, do you see any disparities in the cases by race in your respective countries?
Well, in the case of Cuba, you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, I think that in the case of Cuba, the main challenge we face has been associated to the impact of the blockade, and also from the international point of view, I would say that the campaign to discredit the work that the Cuban International Medical Corporation is doing, it's also, I consider, an important challenge, in spite of it has the tremendous support of the international community. But in the case of the economics, financial and commercial embargo, it has a direct impact on the to face or to combat the COVID-19. I think that's the main issue, because in spite of it has been, I think that the U.S. government has tried to say, no, there is not any direct impact. It has been proved by the Cuban health authorities that it has had an impact on the, for instance, for the normal acquisition of some resources, donations to Cuba has been, impacted by the U.S. embargo or the blockade towards Cuba. That's what I could say.
Yeah, thank you.
Sí, sobre el tema de la pregunta. Luisa, ¿estás allí?
Acá estoy.
Perfecto. Sobre el tema de la disparidad en torno a la incidencia en los casos por raza en el tema de Venezuela. Aquí se dio una particularidad, ¿no? Y es que los primeros casos que aparecieron en el país fueron casos de compatriotas venezolanos que estaban viajando al exterior.
He said that the first cases that we had been in Venezuela had been imported cases. Venezuelan national that had been overseas and came back to Venezuela.
La mayoría de estos compañeros, de estos compatriotas, son compatriotas que tienen unas condiciones económicas muy favorables que les permitieron estar fuera del país.
Yes. The first cases in Venezuela had been of people that have enough resource that keep them in good condition with the complete access to everything.
Entonces, los primeros focos de infección en el país ocurrieron precisamente en las capas medias del país.
Yes, the first cases start in the middle class of the people, of the population in Venezuela.
Por supuesto, esta gente contaba con toda la posibilidad de atenderse en las clínicas privadas.
They had been the resource to go through the private clinic at Venezuela.
Un mes después que se dan los primeros casos en Venezuela, donde Venezuela había ordenado el cierre de las fronteras, el gobierno, como resultado y como consecuencia o a causa de la inmensa cantidad de inmigrantes venezolanos que se encontraban fuera de nuestro país, vio la necesidad y la urgencia de abrir nuevamente las fronteras con Colombia y con Brasil.
¿Eso ocurrió después de cuánto tiempo, Gabriel?
Un mes después de los primeros casos.
Okay, after one month after the first cases in Venezuela, and immediately, as he explained before, the Venezuelan government closed all our borders. Our government had been a new decision to let the Venezuelan migrants, the Venezuelan diaspora, the Venezuelan that had been overseas and want to come back. The border had been open, but the border had been some initiatives with the program that came back to our land, Vuelta a la Patria, some flights to let the people come in. In other cases by themselves.
Y eso se hizo especialmente porque la gente, tanto en Perú como en Ecuador, como en Colombia, en Brasil, los venezolanos que se encontraban allí no contaban con una salud pública capaz de poder atender la emergencia en la que se encontraban.
It was due that the Venezuelan diaspora that had been in Peru, in Colombia, and in the countries that he mentioned, had been there in very vulnerable condition situation because they didn't have the access to the health system in each country. For that, they need to return. Is one of the reasons that they need to return to Venezuela.
Y eso ha generado que los casos se hayan incrementado en las últimas semanas.
As a consequence, some of our connationals came back infected, had been escalating the number of cases in Venezuela.
Cuando llegan a nuestro país, el gobierno aplica gratuitamente las pruebas del COVID-19.
Immediately they arrive to our country, our government apply free of cost all the proofs to the detection of COVID-19.
Por supuesto, les aplica una cuarentena obligatoria donde el Estado se encarga de pagar el hospedaje donde se queda esa gente, la alimentación de esa gente y la supervisión médica constante.
There is a program where the government guarantee the accommodation to the obligatory quarantine obligatory quarantine, and all the food and treatment that they request is guaranteed for our public sector.
Entonces, visto de esta forma, en Venezuela existe una protección social que se ha aplicado desde el gobierno con el objetivo de poder atender la emergencia.
In Venezuela, the government has a public system to protect the population in front to the pandemic, in front to the emergency.
Este
And to
ejemplo,
protect the people.
Este ejemplo del retorno de los venezolanos es un ejemplo muy significativo y que hay que expresarlo al mundo, porque en el mundo se dice que en Venezuela existe una dictadura, que existe una tiranía que se encarga de oprimir a los venezolanos, que asesina a la gente en las calles, que viola los derechos humanos. No se puede entender cómo un venezolano puede huir de la tiranía, se va del país y logra salir de esa dictadura y posteriormente clama en la frontera de Venezuela que lo dejen ingresar otra vez a la tiranía y a la dictadura.
It's very important to explain about this voluntary return of the Venezuelan diaspora, and it's very important to analyze how it's possible if Venezuela has a dictatorship, as currently is in the media, in the big media. How is possible that the people ask to come back to their homeland, to their motherland, if it's a dictatorship? Is what our conference is mentioned, is that it's clear that they want to come back because they have attention inside and the guarantee of their rights, human rights.
Gracias, camarada.
Thanks, comrades.
Okay, thank you much, Gabriel, and thank you, Louisa, for your answer, an important intervention. Now, I see Glenroy Watson, hands are up. So Glenroy, feel free.
Yes, greetings, comrade. Very happy to be joining you. I just wanted to elaborate on Michael's question, because I think certainly here in the UK and other countries in the north, the workers at the front line, African people, are the main victims, along with other so-called ethnic minority. These are largely down to the type of jobs we do in the railway and on the buses, but it's also in addition, and in the health service, but it's also in addition the failure to provide proper PPE, personal protective equipment. Now, I got the impression that there was no differential like that, both from the Venezuelan and the Cuban comrade response, but I just wondered if we could elaborate on that as to why the disparity in the countries in the north, such as America, UK, and indeed, I think the Brazilian one will ethnicity be exposed as that. Do either of the comrades have a view on this differential between what's happening here, for example, in the UK, as far as African people and other ethnic minorities are concerned? Thank you.
Who want to go first? Ambassador Fernandez, would you like?
I wonder if you could just simplify the question. And
Okay.
that is, why is there such a huge difference between the situation in the UK and the US, those not countries, and what obtained in Venezuela and Cuba in the treatment of the people, and also in the availability of protective PPEs for the healthcare workers? Is that what, does that summarize it, Glenroy? Was my mic off?
Yeah, it's Mike.
Okay, your mic is off, Glenroy. Your mic is off. But
Okay, I pressed it, it didn't go off. Okay, just also wondered if there was any opportunity to speculate as to why that difference, because that's
Right.
also been replicated in a
Right.
number of countries in the South.
Okay. Okay, Sikayo, can we make that the last question? Or can we
Yes.
ask the panelists to respond? And while we're asking them to respond, let me just say that Ambassador Bridget had a challenge, and she's going to another location to try to get on, so she'll join another panel later. All right?
You know.
She's successful.
Okay, thank you. So, Ambassador Fernandez, would you like to take a crack at Glenroy's question? Hope she's talking, but
Yes, please turn on your microphone, Ambassador. Please turn on your microphone. Please unmute. Please unmute Ambassador Ines. Unmute. Okay.
she, you seen Ambassador? Oh.
Is she gone as yet? I'm not
No.
seeing her at all.
No, she's still muted.
All right, can we ask Gabrielle, and in the meantime, Trevor,
Yes.
can you just get a message to her to unmute her microphone, please? Yes, Gabrielle.
Sí. Bueno, yo creo que una de las razones principales fue precisamente de que mientras en Cuba, en Venezuela, en otros países progresistas, antiimperialistas, se puso en el centro la vida de los seres humanos, en el sistema capitalista se priorizó la salud de los monopolios, de las empresas, de las transnacionales y de las corporaciones.
Meanwhile, in Venezuela, Cuba, Nicaragua, the political system we have put in the center as the priority the human being. In the capitalism, they put in the center as their priority the health of the transnationals.
Y eso es lo que cambió y permitió que en Venezuela los trabajadores tuviesen una situación diferente a la situación de los trabajadores en muchas partes del mundo capitalista.
Yes. This vision that gave the socialism is the reason why the Venezuelan workers that has a better situation than in other countries.
Entre las medidas que se tomaron en Venezuela, aquí apenas surgió la pandemia del COVID-19, se reafirmó el decreto de inamovilidad laboral absoluta en Venezuela.
Immediately, the pandemic of COVID-19 emergency start in Venezuela, the government reinforced the decree to, how do you say, when the worker cannot be moved, cannot be dismissed, inamobility, inamobility decree.
Right, cannot be fired.
Exactly, don't be fired.
Con el objetivo de que ninguna empresa pudiese despedir a ningún trabajador por no poder asistir a su trabajo.
This is the way to avoid, to provide that the entrepreneur or the patron fire is to avoid that the worker be fired.
Pero bueno, en todo esto cabe una pregunta. Si las empresas no funcionan, las pequeñas y las medianas empresas de qué forma cancelan el salario a la clase trabajadora. En Venezuela el gobierno, para no tener espacio a esta duda, aseguró pagar la nómina de las pequeñas y las medianas empresas por 6 meses.
Yes. As of course, it put the question how the companies, the small and the medium entrepreneur will pay the salaries of the workers. And as an answer, the government is paying for 6 months the salaries of the workers in the case that be needed.
El gobierno venezolano, y el pueblo venezolano realmente hace un esfuerzo importante para las consecuencias de las medidas coercitivas unilaterales que son aplicadas contra nuestro país.
The Venezuelan people made a big effort to overcome the consequences of the blockade, of the illegal sanctions of the U.S. imperialism.
Ahora, es una realidad. Nuestro pueblo, nuestra clase trabajadora y el pueblo en general está sufriendo las consecuencias de este criminal bloqueo contra el país.
But it's a fact that our people is suffering. The Venezuelan people is suffering a lot as a consequence of the blockade of the U.S., of the sanctions.
Estas sanciones se han robado de nuestro país, han generado la pérdida de 130.000 millones de dólares.
Those sanctions have made that Venezuelan lose 130 millions, no, 130,000 of millions of American dollars.
Y eso es una de las razones que ha producido de que nuestro pueblo no pueda tener mejores condiciones materiales de vida. Lógicamente, ese bloqueo y esa pérdida del ingreso de Venezuela genera dificultades en el sistema de salud, en el sistema de educación, en el sistema de alimentación y en otras esferas de la vida social.
It's very clear that this situation that affect the resource in Venezuela affect the life conditions of the Venezuelan population in all the areas, regarding the health, regarding the education, in all the quality of life of the Venezuelan people.
El imperialismo con estas sanciones ha impedido que a Venezuela lleguen las medicinas, los alimentos, la gasolina.
Okay, so
with all of these sanctions, the imperialism blockade that Venezuela received, the gas, oil, the medicine, and the food.
Y con todas esas acciones, la respuesta que tiene nuestro pueblo cada día es más resistencia, más firmeza, más conciencia, más lucha.
And in front of this situation, the attitude of the Venezuelan people is to fight, to resist, and to continue fighting.
all right. Thank you. Zakaya, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. Thank you. Thank you.
All right. Can you just have a quick comment from Ambassador?
Right, Ambassador.
And then we're going to move on to the next. Yeah.
Okay. So yes, so Ambassador Fernandez, can we have a quick comment? The question, Glenroy question, the essence of Glenroy question was to give some insight, a differentiation between the Black African population that have suffered severe consequences from the coronavirus in the UK, US, as opposed to Cuba and Venezuela.
Well, you know, for me, it's, you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, yes.
It's a very interesting question. for us as Cuban, it's a little difficult because, well, first of all, I would like to say that in the statistic we followed in Cuba, I think that the race component is not taken into account. Normally, we look for gender issue, how many women, how many men, it's people with, I mean, race people, but taking into account different situations. I mean, people, diabetic people, people with problem with blood pressure and things like that. But I'm not sure about what the situation is in terms of race. I mean, how many black, how many white people with the disease in Cuba. But what I have what I think, first of all, I would like to say, even I have told when I started my presentation, that this pandemic does not respect borders, ideologies, level of development, races. But we cannot deny, I'm sure, we cannot deny that the pandemic is worsening the present problems in a planet damaged with deep inequalities and where million people are living in dire poverty and nearly half of the population have not access to basic health services. And this is a problem. For me, this is a problem. Yes. I think that it deals also in the way that the government faces the epidemiological situation. I have seen two tendencies. One that made that the social issues a priority, and the other one that has made the economic issue a priority. But I think that we have to look for a kind of combination between social and economy. But we cannot forget, for instance, in Cuba, our authority has said we cannot rush to open our borders and to go to another step and to a superior step till we have not had the control of the disease. That's something very important for us. But I think that it deals with the way the governments follow the issue or put into practice some measures in order to face the coronavirus. And as I told you before, some people, some governments decided to give more importance to the social component, and other ones try to give more importance to the economic component. And in the case of Cuba, for instance, science has been put in the higher level because we try to cure our people. As I told you before, 88% of people with COVID-19 now are recovered of the disease. So it gives you an idea that we have give a big importance to the social component. That's my point of view.
Okay, thank you very much, Ambassador.
You're welcome.
Yes, this brings us to the end of panel number one. I want to thank all the participants and the folks who have patiently listened.
Yes,
and be patient with us as we go through the learning process. So we want to thank you very much.
You're welcome.
We will have a break and we'll hope to take over from here.
Okay, can we just give a round of applause?
Yes.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. That was very, very enlightening.
Thank you so much. Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. And we have had a lot of challenges getting started, and and we are a little behind time. And Michael Witte is here, and his interview was to be 12:20. Gonna ask him to bear with us a little while we take the next panel. I'll just take a quick segue into, and we're gonna try and keep the other panel very, very tight so that we do not delay him long. He has an engagement that he has to get to. All right, let me just share my screen. Sorry. I have to share screen. Did everybody see my screen? Are you seeing my
screen? No.
No. Okay, let me get to share screen. Where's it disappear to? There we go. Share screen. All right, so just a little bit of this spice. Sorry.
Ahora viene un interludio cultural. Intermedio musical aquí. Gracias.
Sorry about that.
Vengo de donde el sol calienta la tierra, y allí donde el corazón late más sincero. Vengo de donde el sol pasa las horas enamorando a la rumba, cantándole aquel bolero. Traigo mi religión y mi esperanza, mezclada con mi tambor y mi melodía. Tan solo quiero que sepas lo que se siente cuando se llene tu alma de toda mi cubanía. Cubano soy de pura cepa, y mis raíces las defiendo con la vida. Cubano soy, y donde quiera que me encuentre cantaré a mi Cuba querida. Vengo de donde el sol calienta la tierra donde nací, donde viviré. Por eso te canto ahora mi canción,